1, 2. Let's do a mic check. Mic check. Welcome to Bud Nixon channel. Hey, so I'm gonna not talk a lot, and maybe I will. So, anyways, welcome to my channel. This video will cover propane stuff, and I'm gonna try to put a link to a previous video somewhere on the screen here. It might pop up somewhere along the way. So the conversation was about the quick connect fitting for a camp stove that I'm using, or for two of them now, due to the fact that I'm not utilizing green 1 pound 1 pounder cans, but I'm rather utilizing a bigger gallon or 2.5 or a 5 gallon, which is I'm gonna say what, 20 pounder versus 10 pounder versus 5 pounder. So this is a 5 pounder. It's about a gallon big. These are very convenient because it will last you a weekend, fairly easy cooking, and it's a lot cheaper or a lot less expensive to get your propane in this way rather than going with the green cans. Now, if you're utilizing a green can, this is the most common adapter that will come with your camp stove, and it's great, but the problem, or we're not going to go into the issue in the reasoning of this video or this setup, is this something gonna look something like this, and you have to set your can somehow, on the table, whatever. So I did not like that option, but I did want to stick with the Camp Chef stoves. This is basically, in my opinion, is a fairly good option for a partner stoves, or a substitute for a partner stove. It's aluminum, it's lightweight, easy to clean up, and it is a 20,000 BTU burners. So the other one I have is also a Camp Chef. This is the Mountaineer version, and I have the Everest version. Now both Mountaineer and Everest are a fine thread connections, and I'm going to do my best to see if the cameras can show you that. So one on the right, as you see, it's a lot bigger step of the thread, while this one's a lot finer. So I've gone through some trials and errors, and I have found that apparently there's, obviously different, so like brickstone or something, like the griddle style grills or stoves, they have what is called 17 and 21 connections, which I think these are the larger ones are for them. But we're going to be talking about specifically the Mountaineer and Everest from Camp Chef. Some Coleman's and some Stansfords, I think, will work as well with this setup, but you would have to trial and error it yourself. Now, as far as these two, what the point of this whole setup or this whole deal is to basically make a quick disconnect option, the one that will just be on the stove, right, and it will remain with the stove always. In my case, stoves, the way they're set up is there's space for when I'm storing the stove, there's space here, so my quick disconnect never gets removed. The reason I went for quick disconnect because I want to be able to point the hose in whichever direction, down or to out to the side or this side, if that's the case in your case. In the case of the Everest stove, the connection is on a side, which is more convenient because it just runs out to the back. Now, the two options, like I mentioned, that came with this stove was, number one was the hose, so you could run it to a bigger tank. But as you see, this one just goes right out straight, and it's, in my opinion, kind of cumbersome and kind of in a way, because I've had where I've used it and you kind of bump into it. And then the other option, like I said, was that this came with it. When this is mounted, basically the pounder can is kind of out nowhere. I mean, if this was connected maybe to the side, it would be more convenient. But in the case of this one, I definitely like the option of having the elbow fitting. And again, in my case, the reason for elbow fitting is for the quick disconnect setup. So you get a hose like this with the regulator with the gauge. This one goes up to 30 psi, so you can actually bump up your BTUs which I wouldn't recommend a whole lot because you'll burn out the burners eventually. But you are able to do this one thing where you just go boom, turn it on, your propane is on, turn it off, your propane is off, disconnect it. Just a matter of, popping it off and you're done. So to do that, we are buying a piece like this, and I'll put a link to Amazon for this. So this is a quick disconnect, just like this one, by the way, right? The only difference is it comes with a different inner piece, and the thread, like I was saying, is bigger. So this thread here is a lot larger step, and then the inner piece, as you see, it does not look like the entire valve stem. Now in the case of these, you will see that the inner piece has basically a valve stem in it. So when it's pressed against this guy, that's when it opens up the gas. So, and what I found is if you buy this guy here, I'll put a link to that, and you get this. So this is what has come with it, right? Let's see, there we go. So this is how it came. So you're able to take a 12 millimeter, yep, so 12 millimeter wrench. You obviously take that part off, and you can just hold this by your hand or whatever. So we're going to remove that. Watch that spring in there. And once you remove this piece off of here, you need to apply some Loctite, which is the red, onto this guy. Right, so we're going to apply some Loctite. Make sure it's kind of all over. Do make sure that you got the right piece, obviously, but do make sure that that does not go inside of your opening here, because we don't want it there. So once that's applied, let's see, let's get a better angle. So once that's in there, what you're going to do is you're going to screw that on there. And the first video that I did on this actually is I ended up threading over, like tapping this part with a new thread, but I found the right fitting that will do the job. So once that's on, we're going to take our 12-inch. Keep in mind this is brass, so you want to be very easy on it. So just kind of hand tight it a little bit. Boom. The thread locker will seal it up, and it will keep it sealed. So now we put that on, get it snug on there, and let's make a test. But will it work? What's nice is that with this valve closed, you can already open your tank. I guess I should put it here so everybody can see. Yep, Carl's telling us it's morning. So that, and then I'm going to adjust it to, say, 12, 15 psi, whatever, right? Turn the knob to the direction we want. Connect the quick disconnect, and turn the propane on. I don't know if you're hearing that. That's propane. And we got fire. Can you see it? Yep, you should see it. So anyways, so this is the simplest way I found to do what you need to do. So we're going to shut it off, quick connect off, shut the propane in the tank, and off we go on our next camping spot, or travel to your next location. So hopefully this answers to those who want to know how this works out. Again, this will work for your Camp Chef Mountaineer or Camp Chef he gets annoying sometimes. So this will work for Camp Chef Mountaineer and Camp Chef Everest. And the two parts that are needed for this, I will put the links on Amazon, and anybody who's interested, they can get it. So this will be basically a video that will cover this, where you don't have to have any tools other than a 12 millimeter wrench or some other way of unscrewing this guy, and some Loctite. And that's about it. Thanks for tuning in. And check out other DIY videos or just other shop videos that I post. And until next time, see you there.